These up and down conditions and historically dry weather complicated things for farmers, particularly hay farmers who work with an extremely sensitive crop. KEZI 9 News reporter Lauren Michler is live in the studio to show us how this year's crop compares to last year's. Lauren?
Last spring, farmers were begging for a break from the rain, and this year a dry spell threw them for a loop, and what was on course to be a season to compensate for last year's hay shortage is turning out to be quite a gamble.
So we got good green hay last year, so hopefully this year the weather will cooperate and we'll have another great year.
Ryan Salisbury was one of the lucky ones last season, harvesting a record number of bales off his fields in Cottage Grove. But most farmers struggled with the long, wet spring and record rainfall leading to a shortage.
In the last 2 years, we've had real wet springs, and they've lasted into June.
This year, instead of record rain, farmers saw record dry weather. We're currently 15.5 inches below our average rainfall, meaning the grass is drying out sooner before it's at its full potential. Most farmers wouldn't start cutting for about another month, but our May dry spell complicated those calculations.
Unseasonably warm weather came early this year and started to dry everything out, and I think a lot of people, including myself, got a little anxious and we're getting ready to cut hay, and then here we are waiting.
Some farmers didn't wait. They saw seed heads starting to show and decided to cut early. It may be thinner hay than usual, but Mike Lengely says it's some of the only hay available at stores like his to fill the void left by last year's shortage.
We ran out early, and we were out of local hay for about 3 to 4 weeks before they got a chance to cut again.
Lengely says those 95-pound bales are going for $14 a piece instead of the usual $11. So it's good money for those who cut. But those who waited, like Salisbury, are hoping it pays off in growth and value.
I would prefer to have 4 or 6 more weeks of growth so that I can increase the yield. And you can see it's quite short now, and it typically is rather tall.
With showers now sprinkling in amongst the dry days, odds are better for the rest of the season. But Salisbury says you can never quite tell, as every field and farmer are different, maybe even as variable as the Oregon weather.
Salisbury says since a lot of the hay is already dry, too much rain means the grass could bend over and kink. So he's hoping for a perfect mixture of wet and dry to make the best use of this year's crop. In the studio, Lauren Michler, KEZI 9 News.